What's up, guys? What's up? Welcome back. Dr. Jaws here, and tonight we are covering a brand new family. This is the Beige Catshark, Dichichthys bigus, which I know we had a lot of fun with that name the last stream, which unfortunately was not last week. I was not really feeling super well, so I was under the weather, so unfortunately wasn't able to cover this species last week. But happy to be back and happy to dive into a brand new group of sharks. So this was actually brand new. Like recently discovered. Or I guess I shouldn't say discovered. We recently realized that this group of cat sharks is distinct from what we used to think were. I think it was like Parmaturidae, or at least a genus Parmaturus. It was classified as one group of cat sharks. And through a lot of research and a lot of studies on both like morphology, like physical appearance, as well as genetics, we realized that this is a whole new different group of species. So excited to go into details with that tonight, and also to go into just marine protected areas from around the world. I think it's a good time to kind of review some of the provisions that we have for marine protected areas, and kind of like the different levels of protection. Different governments have different agreements for protected areas. Most of them are concentrated on a continental shelf, but some of them are in other parts of the sea. So I think it'll be kind of a cool time to explore that. But hope everybody's doing well. In the United States, it's President's Day, so some of our American friends may be off. But we'll just dive in. And shout out to Howard Care for another really awesome piece of art. This is a really great depiction of the beige cat shark, also known as the beige bristle shark, Dichichthys bigus, with Australian tusk and deep sea. I can't see the handwriting, but this is a deep sea fish species. Almost, I think that's fang jaw. There we go, a deep sea fang jaw. So. I'm not as familiar with this part of the world as far as marine life, so it's going to be really cool to explore this species, and we'll just dive in. I also got some footage of the former genus of Dichichthys, so these are Parmaturus cat sharks, but we'll give people a chance to hop on because I see that no one's quite here yet. I know it's kind of awkward timing because it was out last week, but we'll leave the footage for that, and kind of like I think start the stream diving into this species specifically. But for any future viewers, welcome, and we'll dive into the science behind this species. So I think we'll start it with the family, and this is kind of like a nice little blog overview. I'm new to this website called Double Helix, but this is just a summary of kind of like how this family came to be. So we'll kind of skim through this, and then dive in later to the IUCN list profile of the species, and kind of see what makes this shark its own group. So let me just make sure I got everything set up. There we go. All right, awesome. So here we go. So, describing a new species of shark happens occasionally, but describing a whole new family of sharks is super rare. CSIRO researchers, that sounds familiar. Let me actually look up what that is. CSIRO. Commonwealth Science and Industrial Research. So this is Australia. Gotcha. I thought they sounded familiar. Okay. And Australia is one of the best countries as far as shark research goes. I would say they're one of the leaders in the world for shark research. So it's going to be really cool to kind of see the summary of this family. So this new family of deep water cat sharks is called Dichichthyidae, pronounced Dichichthyidae. I guess you could say it. I feel like in Latin you would do it like Dichichthyidae, and I know it sounds silly, but it's just like I think that's the proper way to pronounce it. But we'll go with this Dichichthyidae, or the bristle sharks. Their common name comes from their bristle-like denticles. Denticles are microscopic teeth-like structure found all over the body, heads, and fins. So apparently this group of cat sharks has maybe raised dermal denticles, which kind of makes them feel a little bit rougher to the touch than other kinds of sharks. So let's see. So this family comprises of 4 species. And this is a really great question. What led scientists to create a new family? They found differences in these shark skeletons, particularly the skull, and body morphology like the fin shapes. Bristle sharks also have a very unique egg case. These cases have like a banana-like curve and a dense matting of fibers on a ridged surface. Okay, so that is actually really different. And I know it kind of seems a little like I think kind of like in a terrestrial lens that looks a little gross, but undersea this actually looks a lot like it's actually really well camouflaged because this looks a lot like algae. But this is extremely different from other kinds of cat sharks. And for comparison, let's check out Scalerinus or chain cat shark egg cases. Let's see. So usually when you think of for sharks that lay eggs, so as we know, like not all sharks lay eggs, some give live birth. But you think of something kind of like this, quite a bit smoother and not transparent like this. Usually the egg cases are a little bit more firm than that. Or you think of something like a horn shark. Here we go. Should have... Oh, shoot. Okay. Let's see if they have the egg case. There we go. Okay, so like a horn shark has egg cases like this. So like this spiral corkscrew egg case. A cat shark. Or I'm messing up how you say that. There we go, cat shark. Again, it usually really shouldn't be this transparent, but it's kind of more like this. This is a really good example, and I really don't like the new Google. Google used to make that image so much larger, but still, like egg cases used to be kind of like, or not used to be, but like egg cases that we're used to are very smooth, like the cat sharks. Also, and these are sometimes known as mermaid purses, or have that distinctive corkscrew shape like the horn sharks. But for this brand new species, or this new group, this is a very unusual AK shape where it's these kind of like this like rivulets or ribs along the AK. So, and I'm curious like what the purpose of that would be. I don't know if that helps if the shark lays their eggs on kind of a rocky bottom, if it helps with kind of wedging the egg case in, kind of like horn sharks, or this seems like I just feel like the tendrils right here, they're so exaggerated that it does maybe feel like algae, or maybe is like kind of conveying a sense of algae. So which is pretty interesting. So, but yeah, let's see what else we can learn about the species. One species moved into a Dichichthyidae family is the beige Bristle Shark. Found in Australia, this shark is only known from the holotype, the specimen used to describe the species. This is a very nice, succinct way of describing what holotype means. In 2020, is filmed by the ROV Sebastian at a depth of 480 meters, so right in the twilight zone, during a Schmidt ocean voyage in the Coral Sea. Very cool. Will and Ellen's team also describe brand new species. The roughback bristle shark, Dichichthys satoi, is from northern New Zealand. These cat sharks are also found in the twilight zone, entering slightly into the midnight zone. So, although published only 2 months ago, the taxonomy of this shark family took a long time. A researcher first recognized the uniqueness of this group of sharks over a decade ago. It's taken until now to collect the data required to resolve the taxonomy of this unique group of sharks. So, that's actually really cool that, as we've talked about, like shark science is a continually evolving field that gets better and better, and even in my lifetime, I've seen bizarre, not bizarre, but like I've seen like unexpected changes. Like tiger sharks are their own family. I think basking sharks have always been their own family, Sidoranidae, and then tiger sharks are in their new family, Gallioseridae. It's brand new, which is kind of wild to me, and it makes sense. Like they were separated out from other sharks because of their reproductive habits are just very unique and very different. We have so many new species hiding in plain sight. When I was a kid, we had about 350 sharks maybe. now we have about 550. So thank you, Bibia666. Welcome to the stream. So, oh my goodness, appreciate it. But yeah, so since you're new to the stream, this is a really cool community where we have a lot of people who love sharks and love shark science. So if you have any shark questions, please leave them in the chat. And also, if you're comfortable, please feel free to comment what country you're from. We have so far Americans, Canadians, and Indonesians on the stream. So, but yeah, any shark questions, please feel free to fire away. And yeah. So for this group of sharks, we do have a couple pieces of footage from when it used to be known as Parmators. So these are known sometimes as file-tail cat sharks. So this is one where you can kind of see these sharks tend to chill on the bottom of the seabed, and they're a really cool group of sharks as far as they're able to actively pump water over their gills. This, I can't tell if this is an aquarium setting, or this is probably an aquarium setting because the shots are actually really good for sharks that tend to like deeper water. But for sharks that actually sit on the seabed like this and actively pump water over their gills, they're known as buccal pumpers. So it's actually really cool that there used to be this misconception that sharks have to swim in order to breathe and survive. And the reality is some sharks have to do that, but not all. Some sharks are actually, adapted to chilling out on the seabed and, actively pumping water over the gills. So this is definitely wild, which is really cool to see. So this is definitely a deep water benthic zone. You can see the marine snow all around. So this is kind of like a source of nutrients for these denizens of the deep. And here is a file-tail cat shark. So this is the group of this new species, this new family, Dichichthyidae. This is a wild file-tail cat shark just trying to avoid the lights of the submarine. So pretty cool to see, actually. I love that you can see the reflection in the eyes. So I love that deep water sharks do have usually kind of like a green glow or a green reflection. Some deep water sharks are bioluminescent. I don't believe the cat sharks are, because usually bioluminescent sharks are kind of like the dog, not the dogfish, but the sharks that are in squalid form. So like cousins of dogfish, like lantern sharks. But this is actually a really cool piece of footage of a wild file-tail cat shark. And this one is also sticking close to the bottom, so yeah, a lot going on here. I'm definitely going to replay it, so just check in my comments. Oh, no worries. Oh, thank you, Bibia. I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the uploads. Dr. Jaws will be watching. Can't chat because phone needs to recharge. No worries. Thank you so much. I appreciate the comment. So, let's see. So this is a really cool clip of a deep water environment because it's like you can see a lot of activity here. That looks like some kind of weird crustacean or something. I can't tell if that's like a piece of fish or like a weird crustacean in the midwater column, this white shape. There is like this deep water fish right here that, I mean, it almost looks like a cod, but I can't get a good view of it. Actually, no, it's not, because cod have like 3 dorsal fins, so this is something different. I'm not sure what this is, but that's still pretty cool fish. I'm not exactly sure what kind of fish that is. But there's the shark in the bottom of the seabed right there, bottom of the screen. And you can see it is kind of like this cool, like, oozy abyssal plain, so a very soft sediment bottom. And again, the marine snow, all these dots and specks that you see, this is a source of nutrients for deep water animals. So it's actually really cool to see that even though this is a place removed from the sunlight zone, there's still a lot of activity and a lot of organic material that's available for animals to consume and then become prey for larger animals, kind of like this shark. So this shark is patrolling the seabed, hugging very close to the bottom with those beautiful reflective eyes. The coloration is very dark too. A lot of deep water sharks just have like a straight dark brown color. The bioluminescent sharks usually reflect blue, sometimes purple, sometimes green, but most of them are blue. But this group of sharks, as far as I know, is not bioluminescent. So they have the reflective green eyes, but they're just cruising along the seabed. And it's really cool to see just how it swims. It's like the two dorsal fins are equal in size. The caudal fin, the upper lobe of the caudal fin is very large, and it's like the profile is just so flush, so neat looking. So it's just like it's really cool to see how this shark just kind of cruises in such a straight, purposeful manner, straight line. Because some sharks, depending on the species, they kind of bob a little bit. But it's kind of cool to see like in deep water environments. So I feel like a lot of sharks are very serpentine in their build. Like frilled sharks, they kind of look like these really cool sea serpents. Even the large ones, like the six-gill sharks, or even like the sleeper sharks, they do have kind of like longer bodies. They're not as compact like something like a poor beagle or like a mako or something. So it's pretty cool. So yeah, really great shot of this kind of shark cruising the seabed. So, and I love that like physically. I mean, the snout is a little bit upturned, so the belly can be kind of close to the seabed, but the snout, is not flush with the seabed. So that may be a way for it to kind of maximize its ability to kind of detect any smells. So it's like it's kind of like a cool, and that's just a speculation, but it's kind of cool that like the belly is flat with the seabed, but the snout naturally is kind of a little bit more upturned, which may be an adaptation to kind of help maximize odor detection. So all sharks, whether the big ones or small ones, are all perfectly adapted to their environment. Each one is fulfilling a very unique niche, so it's really cool to see this kind of shark, like a file-tailed cat shark, in its natural environment. And it was funny, like earlier you could see it was darting away from the submarine lights. Like whoever is filming this is definitely a nice sub, and it's probably scaring the shark, but now it's kind of calming down. So just really cool stuff. Yeah, beautiful species. And this one, what is this one called? This is Parmaturus. It's File-tailed Cat Shark by AMSE Institute, so I'm definitely going to subscribe to that and like that. Doesn't say what species it is, unfortunately. So this one is another Parmaturus. So again, Parmaturus is reclassified as Dichichthys in this new family of Dichichthyidae. So this one is Parmaturus pilosus, so it's not tonight's shark, but it's a close cousin. So we're just going to watch it to kind of see if there's any similarity in behavior, similarity in swimming. So you can see here, this looks like an aquarium, but you can see here that the head is kind of big, little boxy, like the eyes are pretty big and relative to the head size. So probably is an adaptation for a deep water environment. Those large eyes are for maximizing light. That's probably why this aquarium is also very dark looking. That might be purposeful as far as care for this kind of shark. The reason I could tell it's an aquarium is you can see the ripples, so that's a shallow water environment. But it's probably kept dark, to make sure that this particular shark is happy. Behaving in a natural way, or maybe it's being filmed at night when they're more active. So I always think it's interesting when you do have deep water sharks in at least public aquaria, because chain cat sharks are very popular in the United States, in like the major aquariums in the United States, and those are a deep water species. They really don't spend a lot of time in shallow water, but aquariums have them and they do well in captivity. So because I just wonder, like, how you account for pressure just not being there. So, but here's another aquarium shot, probably the same YouTuber with the same tank. So more shots of the salamander shark, Parmaturus pilosus. And this individual, it's kind of cool to see, like, they actually seem to be in good condition. I used to take care of fish in aquariums. Not really, more so public, not private, like small public operations. Like Virginia Marine Science had an aquarium, or has an aquarium still. And then Seacoast Science Center in New Hampshire, I used to take care of some of the animals there. And you can tell if an animal is in good condition based on its behavior. If it's swimming, in a very smooth, uninterrupted way. This particular shark does not seem, agitated at all. It doesn't seem like it's having any trouble swimming. The color is a really good indicator as well. So the shark's color looks very even. There's no apparent paleness. Usually animals that kind of like look a little pale, or they have like a kind of a weird, maybe a little loaded appearance. Like those are aquarium animals. We know they're not really getting best care. Whereas sharks that have a bronzy color, if they have a rich deep color, vibrant color, they seem to behave positively. I do notice something though. So there's a pale patch here at the tip of the snout, and that actually could be some fish in aquaria in captivity. They can develop and sharks in particular, they can develop it's not, I forget what it's called. It's not fin rot, but it's something similar to that. So this could be a negative aquarium condition. There's some major public aquariums that do have sharks that you actually may notice if you ever go to an aquarium. You might notice some sharks having kind of like red or white on the tip of their snout, and that's an indicator there's something a little bit off in that tank, like whether it's the water or just there's some kind of bacteria or something in that tank. Sharks are very tricky to keep in public aquaria. Even the ones that do well, it's a very delicate balancing act you have to do. Because it's you have to get the water chemistry completely right, and you have to get the microbiology right. So you have to have certain kind of bacteria, certain kind of microorganisms operating in a way that is supporting the entire tank. So if you don't have those things right, you can get some strange issues bleach coloration on the snout, fin rot. Overall, I think these individuals look pretty okay. But I wonder if that pale coloration at the tip of the snout is maybe an indicator that there's something a little bit off. So this might be the same. I think that's the same piece of footage, so we won't look at that. We have one more clip, and I think it's from the same group of aquarium individuals. And actually, I've noticed here, you can see a little bit of discoloration on the clasper right there, which also might be an indicator. So this is a male cat shark, and this might be an indicator that overall his health might not be the best. I think this is a healthy individual, but overall, just discoloration on any part of a shark is an indicator that there might be something off, kind of with the tank settings. So, but again, aquaria, it's kind of a tricky balancing act. And there's actually a lot of research on how to take care of sharks in public aquaria. It's been a field for decades at this point. So there's actually been a lot of science and research on, and husbandry manuals, how you take care of sharks and what you need to do, and the certain, things you need to have set up, like what their diet is, how often you have to check on them. As far as doing biological tests or health tests, blood work, what kind of fish they get along with, and some of that science is actually the most interesting because you can see sharks showing weird aquarium behaviors. One of my favorites is bull sharks. If they are in a tank, they do dominate the tank. They do exhibit a weird social hierarchy with other shark species. And you see that in the behavior called yielding, where if two sharks are swimming towards each other, one of them has to yield and get out of the way of the other. And, if it's sandbar sharks, they will kind of take turns. If they're sand tigers, sandbar sharks, sometimes the sand tiger yields, sometimes the sandbar yields. If it's bull sharks, every other species yields to bull sharks. And I don't know why that is, but it is a really cool behavior where bull sharks, they kind of take that command position in the tank. And it's kind of interesting how that lines up with, I know bull sharks have, such a reputation. And actually, it kind of maybe makes sense because bull sharks do eat other sharks. Large enough sand tigers and large enough sandbar sharks can eat other sharks as well. But bull sharks have a certain kind of dentition that allows them to manipulate a wide variety of prey items. So the bull shark yielding behavior is very interesting, and that was something that was kind of observed in aquaria. So there was a tank that had a mix of bull sharks, sandbar sharks, and sand tigers, and they studied it, and they realized that sand tigers and sandbars were yielding to bull sharks in captivity. So it's pretty interesting stuff to see. So yeah. We'll dive in more into this family, Dichichthyidae, and then towards the end we'll go into marine protected areas because I think it would be kind of cool to take a look at. But here we go. So tonight's species is the beige catshark, also known as the beige bristle shark. So this is Dichichthys bigus, discovered in 2007, but I think in 2007 it was Parmaturis something. Or Parmaturis bigus. So it was originally named Parmaturis bigus in 2007, and then 2024 it was renamed Dichichthys bigus. So. But let's see. This is really odd. So this is Fishbase. Let me go back to the homepage on this. So Fishbase, oh, they updated their logo. It used to be like this carp. But Fishbase is kind of like the go-to catalog for fishes from around the world. It's kind of like it's like a dictionary for fishes, I think is the best way to describe it. So it has everything in it. It doesn't have a lot of information. It's not really like an encyclopedia. It's just kind of more like a dictionary. So bull shark has high level of testosterone. Yeah. So interesting note on that. So yes and no. Yes, in the sense that there was research on, and I forget the parameters of the study, but there was research on bull sharks having high residual testosterone. So I think sometimes like that particular study is quoted as if like bull sharks swim around just like angry all the time, like they have high testosterone all the time. And it's not quite like that. It's more so that they have there are some individuals at certain times of year that take longer to discharge that testosterone. So they actually have high residual testosterone. And I really forget, I wish I remember what that study was. But I think there's some programs like Discovery Channel that ran with it. And they kind of created this image like the bull sharks are kind of like the roided out sharks all the time, and it's not 100% true. It's kind of more like how they regulate their hormones, and it kind of makes sense because bull sharks have a very unique adaptation. As you know, most people know, they enter fresh water, and you have to actually do a lot of work. If you're a fish that goes into fresh water, your body has to go through so many changes because that's extremely difficult to do. Going from salt water to fresh water, you have to osmoregulate, meaning you got to balance out your salt content relative to the water around you, and it's kind of insane that bull sharks can do that. It's actually insane any fish can do that, and there's not many that can. You've got herring, American eels, sturgeon. Not a lot. All the most of the fish in the world, they cannot do that. So bull sharks are a marvel as far as their biology and stuff. So I think the testosterone relates to that in some way. I forget how they relate. So it is a good point because you are right. They do have a higher level or they have been observed to have a higher level than other shark species. But that study was kind of more like. I forget if it was mating season or something. There was something going on that prevented the shark from discharging the testosterone. So it's not quite like they're swimming around angry, but that is a good point because it was something that was observed. I'll have to pull that up, and if I find it, I'll leave it in the comments here because it's like after the video is uploaded because it's that was a pretty famous study from that. Actually, you know what? I think we have time. Let me see if I can find that. So let's go to this website. Is super cool, and I think we could do this because so for this stream, what's kind of fun is we kind of meander as far as we have a target species, but perfectly open to, look at other areas of research. So let's check out the testosterone study because I think we'll be able to find it here. This is sharkreferences.com, which is super cool. You can type in, well, the search engine gets kind of weird, but like you can look for any shark, living or dead, and it will have all of the research ever done on that species, which is amazing. And I really wish this was a more popular resource, but here we go. Like, I feel like there's just so much really cool stuff out there, and it just doesn't really get to the forefront. So here we go. Corcoris lucus is the bull shark. So you have like the landing page with a shark species. So here's Corcoris lucus, the bull shark. Oh, actually, this is nice. Usually this website doesn't have photos, but it's nice that they have a nice photo of these two bull sharks here. This looks like this is probably, I want to guess this is Bimini. Like that, it just looks like that, but it could be wrong. Then you have the literature references. So let me go find testosterone. It's not pulling up. Let me look at hormones. Okay, here we go. This is one from the 60s, which we can take a peek at. Let's see what else is going on here. This might be it. Serum levels of circulating steroids, so let's look at that too. That's actually really cool. This might be fun. Hey Howard, welcome back. Yeah. We have got a new guest, Bibia666, who reminded me of the bull shark testosterone study. So we're kind of taking a look at that. It's actually, I really appreciate this kind of like branch. So we'll take a look at that. Because I was explaining that, and also Howard, I hope you had a good week. Thank you so much for your art, by the way. This looks really great for the beige catshark or the beige bristle shark. So, and I just learned tonight that bristle sharks, they're named because their dermal denticles are raised, so they kind of have more of a bristly appearance. So thank you so much. I really love this piece. And the two additional fish, usually I know there's like one in the art, but this is really cool, so thank you so much. But I was sharing with our new guests that there was a bull shark study about their very high testosterone levels, and it's often misquoted, where the misconception is like bull sharks like are just like full of testosterone all the time, and they're like swimming around angry. And the reality of that study was there was a bull shark that was caught at a specific time, and it may have been mating season, and for some reason it took a long time. There was a very high residual time of testosterone, so it took a very long time for it to discharge it. So in that moment, yes, the observed testosterone was insane. It was very, very high, but it's not. But I feel like Discovery Channel or whoever kind of ran with that and kind of created this weird narrative that like bull sharks are just aggro, and it's not really quite that. So let's see what this is. So I want to find that because I know this new species, the beige catshark, probably won't have a lot of information on it, so we're going to take a look at that. So, and we're also going to take a look at marine protected areas tonight. I feel like it's a good night to look at that. So here we go. All right, testosterone. Study hormones greatly advance our understanding of vertebrates. Focus on 3 sex steroids. Ostradiol, which I actually don't know what that is. Testosterone and progesterone. Those two familiar with. Here we go. Okay, all species in table 1. Let's see if we can find this. Okay. So I'm not I'm more into like ecology and taxonomy, so I have to definitely do a refresher on microbiology because I know like with all most animals, you have testosterone circulating during mating season. I mean, there's like all animals, male and female, have it. Males have a higher proportion than females, and then the actual production of it increases or decreases depending on season. So it's a pretty cool study. Just want to figure out. Here we go. Okay, so testosterone, high concentrations of androgen has related to follicle development and maintenance of spermatozoa. So, it's related to mating, which makes sense. Increase of testosterone was observed during the mating season, as several labs are branks suggesting that this steroid could play an important role in their reproductive ethology. Makes sense. Males, several studies describe the increase of this androgen during spermatogenesis and sperm transportation, which can indicate a role in maturation, motility, and gametes. Totally makes sense. This is analogous to kind of how we relate to testosterone, as mammals and as humans. So, which is kind of interesting as a segue. It's amazing that sharks are so far away from us, evolutionarily, but they have weirdly analogous features to us. I mean, the fact that some sharks have placentas is kind of wild. It's not the same as a mammalian placenta, but the fact that they even have that is incredible, because no fish has that, no amphibian has that. I don't think any reptiles have that, because I know there's live-bearing snakes, but I don't think they have that feature. So it's really incredible how distant they are. So, and how distant they are, but how analogous they are. So. Okay. Let me see if they call out the bull shark specifically, because that might be what we're looking for. Oh, here we go. So there's Carcharodontis lucus. Steroid hormones analyzed. So there was a study about bull sharks and testosterone. We've got the fact that it's near threatened at the time of writing. I promise I won't spend a lot of time on this if this is going to be like a rabbit hole, but yeah, so there is research on it. I don't know if we'll be able to get to it tonight, because this study is showing bull sharks, that there was studies on bull sharks concerning their testosterone levels, but it's not showing what those levels are. Let's see. Yeah, I might have to look for that later, but it's well, here we go. No, it's not going to show it. Shoot. Okay, it's complicated, but it's a really cool field. Microbiology is a really cool field. Yeah. Okay. I won't. I don't think I'll be able to find it tonight. But it's a really interesting field. So that was a really cool question, and thank you so much for asking. So, before we continue on this species of shark, oh yeah, should know Discovery Channel is the best source, and being captured has to be stressful. So always be careful. Oh hey, no worries. And yeah, it's a shame, because I was actually thinking about that, where I feel like 90s and maybe early 2000s Discovery Channel was awesome. It was so good, and I feel like it was a lot more legit. And then I think they were, if I remember correctly, I think they were losing viewership. So they kind of started to lean into weirder stuff. And I mean, there was documentaries on mermaids, dragons, I forget if Bigfoot stuff was on Discovery Channel or History Channel, but unfortunately they started to lean into weirder stuff, and it's just it's a shame. And the 2013 Megalodon thing was the thing that kind of was the turning point, where the scientific community was like, oh no, don't do this, and it's a sad thing, because it's 90s and early aughts Discovery Channel was awesome. It was so good. The shark documentaries are top notch, so good. So, but yeah, no worries. So. Howard, just so you don't miss this, this was a really cool shot of, this is not our species, but it's a cousin to it, when it was described as Parvotyrus. This is a file-tail cat shark in the abyss. So this is actually really cool footage from the seafloor, of a cousin of this kind of shark. So just wanted to take a look, just so you didn't miss it, of this species. So... or of this kind of shark cruising in its natural habitat. It's just really cool to see, As pointed out earlier, all the marine snow, all the organic material, that you could be this far down in the ocean, yet still like be the zone of like a lot of biological activities. It's super cool to see. But yeah, really, really beautiful shark, like in its own way. I mentioned earlier that it's really cool to see each shark is perfectly adapted to their own environment. So. This species is just so cool to see how at home it is, cruising at the bottom of the seabed, looking for food, probably in the ooze. So it's just really, really, really great piece of footage, actually. And it's amazing we can see this. I mean, going back to like the 90s and 2000s, this was just unheard of, like you had grainy footage from the seafloor, and then now it's like there's so much more material. And a lot of it, it's so great that it's actually a lot of it is on YouTube. Let me show, I know I've talked about this before, but Okeanos. This is the coolest stuff. So they have a lot of missions. Don't you dare do it.
One of the great challenges.
No. Sorry.
Enough about a subject to think you're right.
Shut up.
But
Shut up.
not enough about the subject.
Shut up. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, that was horrible. I'm so sorry. That was insane. That was really terrible. Oh god, I'm sorry for Neil deGrasse Tyson exploding in everybody's face. I apologize. That's horrible. I've ruined President's Day. I'm so sorry. So, oh my god. All right. So, is everybody okay? I'm so sorry for that horrific audio bomb, and it gets worse. YouTube does not stop the ads. I promise this is worth it. I promise. Here we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okeanos. I am so sorry, guys. I am so sorry. That was horrific. I really hope nobody was on their headphones, and I apologize if you were. That was really terrible. But Okeanos, it's worth it. I promise. Stick with me. This channel, and really, I mean, like, it's weird how it's split up. It's done by NOAA. This is like the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. It's these really cool deepwater expeditions that travel around the world. You can actually pick and search which expedition you want. This one is kind of I believe this is the one from kind of my neck. Yeah, my neck of the woods. I'm in Virginia, and we have actually underwater canyons, like deepwater canyons off of Virginia. So this is an expedition from 2019 in one of those canyons. So this is Washington Canyon. So the one that I've been to is Norfolk Canyon. There's a shark, actually. Yeah, there we go. The one I've been to is Norfolk Canyon. On the surface, I've never been down. But this is really cool to see that, kind of like offshore, this is what you can find in the deep water environment. And they have traveled around the world. So there's like 100 different expeditions, and they're all like hours long. So if you guys ever want to watch something that is like you projecting like the deep sea floor, like right in your home, right on your laptop, or just even have it on the background while you're doing work. Okeanos is a super cool program, and it's free. I mean, if you have YouTube, it's free. It's so cool to see. I mean, look at this. This is an ocean seascape. Or like that sounds dumb. This is a view of the abyss. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry, I just saw these comments. Let's see. Yeah, Howard, Garbage Science, very graceful for Discovery Channel, The Shark. Cater to capture, but would adrenaline not be very high if you get captured or locked up in an aquarium? Yes, actually, sorry, Bibia, I'm so sorry, I missed that comment. Yes, you're absolutely right. If a shark is stressed out, their hormones would be running really high. Let me start that. That's an excellent point. Does the shark nose cameras, even if filmed by robots? I think yes, and the sound wasn't super. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. Yes, so I would say the sharks probably do nose the cameras, but because it's such a new thing to their world, they may not be as bothered by them. So maybe in that first clip, the camera's getting so close that shark just adjusted, but then was comfortable. It didn't swim super far away. Howard, I know I hate how they love to say that tagging them on other intrusive procedures doesn't bother the shark. I'm going to start that too, because yes, tagging does. I know the big one, we talked about it on the Great White stream, but O-Search and how their practices have been criticized because those tags damage the fins pretty severely. So yeah, just long story short, kind of tying it all together. You guys are absolutely right that any kind of tagging procedure, it does stress the animal out, and it does produce all of these hormones. And I want to say it's lactic acid. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it is lactic acid is a big one for sharks, working them up. In my undergraduate, I used to work up small sharks, and they were very strict about, you need to do this super quickly. Like, take the measurements, shout them out, punch the, it's not a satellite tag. It's kind of like I forget what you call it, but it's like the little dart tag. It's the like the little plastic strip with the information on it. You punch the dart tag in, and then you throw the shark back in the ocean and monitor to see if it's swimming okay. And you do monitor for signs of stress, the big one being color. So just making sure that the shark still, because when they're fresh out of the water, they're iridescent, they're beautiful, like they glitter in the sun, like Edward Cullen. So, I'm sorry, I don't like Twilight. I don't know why I said that. But, like, they glitter. And then if they are stressed out, they darken in color. They produce, I do think it is lactic acid. They produce that kind of, like, their skin just like, the color fades, the color darkens. And it's a clear sign of stress. So, also, really nice random shot of a crab. I don't know what kind of crab that is. It's kind of cool because I almost want to say it's a king crab, but I don't know if we actually have that group here. It looks kind of like a king crab. But yeah, lots of cool stuff on Okeanos. So, and it's really cool. Like this is all Virginia, so this is my neck of the woods, and it's not. I know Virginia's not really known for a lot of really cool wildlife, and it really should be because it's a really interesting migration zone. But already you get to see some really cool critters here. So imagine like filming this in like a deep water trench, or just like or in a deep water area off of a coral reef. This is really cool footage. I'm gonna get distracted by this. So but yeah, Okeanos, please check it out. It's a really cool, and it's funny that these expeditions don't get a lot of views, and they really should. Like it's actually really cool that they have these. So we'll go back to learning more about the beige catshark or beige bristle shark, and then I promise we'll get into marine protected areas, so which I think is going to be really cool. There's this really cool, and actually I'm going to put this in the meantime in the chat. There's this really cool marine protected atlas, and I don't think this is the only one I've seen. I think there's actually quite a few, but they're really cool summaries of like what parts of the ocean are actually protected and what parts of the ocean like have some kind of conservation focus for now, and it's actually really cool to see because marine protected areas are they're a really great investment for not just marine life, for themselves, but also for like economically for like local fishermen. If you have a protected area that is cut off from any kind of harvesting, you give fish a chance, or not just fish, but marine life a chance to grow and actually to produce more fish. Like they get to a bigger size and produce larger or spawn like larger amounts of fish that actually can go off into non-protected areas and actually benefit nearby economies. So it's a win-win. It's good for like economies that rely on the ocean, but it's also good for the ocean itself. So these are really cool to map out. So I promise we'll get to these later in the episode. But I think we should, since there's not going to be a lot of information on this shark, I think we should take in what we know and then, or what we have on the beige catshark and see where we go from there. So, Bibia, sharks are curious, which show intelligence, so they must notice, and tagging especially, but they forget quick. Also, deep sea oddity is good too. Okay, yeah. Let me check that out really quick. Deep sea oddities. Actually, let me go back. I will search on the Okeanos one because. Okay, deep sea oddities. Oh, Magna Pinna. So the terrifying. I thought this was fake for a second, and I think this is actually a real thing, which is awesome. It's like kind of like nightmare fuel a little bit. And like I don't have thalassophobia, and I can see how freaky this is. So you know what? I'm gonna subscribe to that because that's actually really cool. That is really cool. So I am not as familiar with this kind of squid, and for a second I thought this was fake, but based on like the movement of the animal, based on the fact that this is an oil rig, we've seen oil rig footage of Greenland sharks, and based on how the animal is moving, it's real, and it's actually really cool and kind of amazing that it's like it's a squid that has this these extended tentacles that try to maximize the surface area for capture. So it's super cool. I can see it's a very popular clip, like 6 million views, and I can definitely see why, because it looks like it's out of Stranger Things, but that's really amazing. That kind of reminds me of oarfish, where oarfish are like it's like the longest fish in the world. They're these beautiful silvery fish with like the red crest. And people think they swim like sea snakes, but they don't. They actually swim vertically in the water column. Let me see if I can find that to show you guys. Oarfish in wild. Because like I know there's clips of some of them. There we go. I guess it's river monster. This is it. Like this is actually really great. All right. So here's an oarfish, and this is how it swims. It swims vertically in the water column. But there's something immediately shark-related in this clip. Tell me if you guys see it. Yes, Howard, agreed. It looks so creepy. But yeah, tell me if you see... There's something really interesting related to sharks in this clip. Oh, thank you, Bibia. I really appreciate the comment. Sorry, I just saw that. Should be wanting to excuse me all the... No worries. Thank you. Appreciate that. I really appreciate the support a lot. Thank you. We have welcome to the community, because it's a really cool group. Like, everybody's really chill and fun, and like, we all have a passion for sharks. So welcome here. So, and just in case, we'll give a couple more seconds. Do you see anything? And I'll give a hint. Do you see anything? What do you see on the oarfish's body that might be shark related in this clip? Because this is a species we've covered, and it freaks me out that this is what it is, but those are cookie cutter shark bites. So those perfectly circular bites. There's only one kind of animal that can do that, and that's a cookie cutter shark. So there's a couple different kinds of cookie cutter sharks throughout the world. This may be the classic one. It depends on like where this was filmed. But it's the only animal that actually like latches on and takes a perfectly circular chunk. So those are healing cookie cutter shark bites. Yes, Howard. Yep. I just saw your comment. Awesome. Yeah, that might have been a communication delay, but you got it. Cookie cutter shark bites. So, which is really freaky, and also, really freaky. I mean, these bites could be found on whales. They've been found on submarines. They have been found on people. Like cookie cutter sharks are one of the small sharks that are implicated in 3 shark attacks off Hawaii. So, people swimming in deep water. Like people swimming kind of like offshore over deep water canyons, those cookie cutter sharks swim up and take a really gnarly chunk. So they're no joke. So, but yeah, good job as far as the oarfish goes. Awesome. So yeah, let's go back to. I got so distracted, but it's one of my favorite things about the channel is kind of meandering. Let's go back to the Beige Catshark. One thing that distracted me was fish base is usually really great. I don't know why there's this typo here. So this should be Dichichthys, which is cartilaginous fish. I don't know why they have Myxini, the hagfish, here as far as taxonomy. That's a weird mistake. It's just a typo. I'll give Fishbase a hall pass because they're usually really great, but that's a bizarre typo to have there. So just for clarification, this shark, like all sharks, is a cartilaginous fish, so it should be Dichichthys. We've got Carcharodontiforms. It may have been a mistake because the family is new, and the family had to be changed to Dichichthyidae. So, Dichichthys, named from the combination of the Greek diko or diko, meaning to branch in two, and ichthys for fish, which with this genus being intermediate between the Galeus parmaturus complex and Aprosteris. Okay. Bigus means beige, referring to the general plain and pale yellow-brown coloration. Interesting. So that's actually really funny because I know we joked last time, and also thank you for your patience. I was not feeling well last week, so I really, really appreciate you, this community being patient as far as that goes. That means a lot to me, just to take the rest I need sometimes, especially this time of year. It's like cold and flu season, so thank you guys. But it cracks me up, like the last stream we were joking about this because it's like a Monty Python skit, like Dichichthys bigus, but bigus does not mean large, it means beige, which I didn't even know. So I thought it was a marine scientist being goofy because sometimes taxonomists have kind of like a perverted sense of humor, especially for birds. I mean, like, normal bird names, and I'm just going to read these as normal bird names, are like, the blue-footed booby, the tufted titmouse, like the great tit. Like, these are birds. These are actual birds that you can look up, and I don't know why, like, researchers and taxonomists and, like, I don't know why they name them like this, but there you go. And actually in marine science, it gets even worse. And I won't... there's, like, phoronid worms, there's a lot of weird ones, like I won't get into because it gets, I guess that's their sense of fun because it gets kind of graphic in a weird way, but I don't know. Marine scientists are a funny bunch, so. But this species, Dichichthys bigus, the beige catshark, lives in 590 to 881 meters. So this is a twilight zone shark. Let's see, soft body with velvety skin. Let's see. These are kind of details about the description we won't go into. I don't like to get into the weeds on that because I know our streams are usually like 2-ish hours, so I want to make sure I maximize time for other things. But let's see. Yeah, this is more like really specific stuff, like vertebral counts and stuff. So the only thing of note I would say is the denticles. So tricuspidate means the 3 points or 3 teeth. So the dermal denticles have like the 3 teeth that kind of seem like kind of give that bristly appearance or bristly feel. So yeah, zoologists are a wild bunch. Yeah. Yes, sorry, just saw this comment. Cookie cutter teeth have beautiful, or cookie cutter sharks have beautiful teeth, different shape under or upper jaw. Yes, they have these really cool vertical knife-like teeth, which are just really freaky, actually. So, oh my gosh, yep. Appreciate the comments. Oh my goodness. So, no more information on Fishbase, which is understandable. So we'll go to we will read this paper. Let's go to the IUCN Red List to read more on the species. So the names are interesting. Great example of how English names can vary for the same species. So Beige Catshark, Beige Bristle Shark, Beige Bristle Catshark, or the Short-tailed Catshark. All English names referring to Dichichthys bigus, so formerly Parmaturus bigus. So this one is really tricky name-wise, but currently it's dated efficient. The geographic range, I think they said it was only identified from one individual. So, and this was the capture locality, which is off of Australia, so eastern Australia, and this would be near the Great Barrier Reef, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So. I guess they won't show that, unfortunately. So, Let's see. Assessment information in detail. The short-tailed cat shark is a deep-water cat shark known only from a single specimen collected from near the Swamiras Plateau, northeast Australia, at 590 to 606 meters depth. The only known specimen, an adult female, measured 71 centimeters total length. This species may be a rare endemic with a restricted range. Further specimens and research are required, and at this time there is insufficient information available to assess the species beyond data deficient. Interesting. So this is a really rare shark. And it's actually really cool. That's not necessarily a bad thing. The sand devil, Squatina demeral, was data deficient, and then after research they realized, you know what, this shark's actually doing well, so it's actually a least concerned species. In Australia, Australia has a lot of great programs shark-wise, and they do a lot of really good conservation work. Same with New Zealand. So I feel encouraged about this species. It might be doing okay, so we'll see. But that's actually it's actually kind of cool that we haven't really seen it before, and not even like fisheries trawls. So it'd be kind of interesting to see this. So. Let's see if there's any notes on biology. Short-tailed cat shark is a deep-water species in the twilight zone. Only specimen, an adult female, measured 71 centimeters total length. Reproduction is oviparous, meaning egg-laying. So, yeah. All right. So there is something I want to check on IUCN on my list, and this is probably a good time to segue to the marine protected areas. So, just want to say that I think we're all on the same page as far as like we all love sharks and we're from around the world. But I just want to say like science transcends nations, science transcends communities and marine science. And I feel like I just want to make a comment that like it's really unfortunate that it's right now the stream is being recorded in February 2025, and I'm in the United States. I'm an American, and unfortunately, the Americans are being very strange right now, and strange with their names. And I just want to emphasize that no matter what's happening, there's just a lot of research and a lot of layers of science and layers of communication that are going to refer to, like names do change. That happens, but the particular one that I'm referring to right now on the screen is just really dumb, and I just want to acknowledge that it's really dumb, and it's always going to be the Gulf of Mexico, and I just want to say that to our community of scientists, and just it's always going to be the Gulf of Mexico, and it's really I think it might be kind of encouraging to look at the IUCN Red List and look at the marine protected areas and see that that name is still there. So no matter what like Google does or whatever, this is here. This is what scientists and ecologists are going to refer to, and this is what's been published in just like decades of books and like decades of research. So I just want to take a moment to say that, and I don't want to like get too weird and too political because I do want to keep the community chill. But I just want to say it because we are an international community and we all are united by sharks. And just want to say it's the Gulf of Mexico. No argument. So I am so sorry, guys. Yeah. So, hey! Oh my gosh! Vivian from the Netherlands! Welcome! Okay, well we got a new country. Awesome! Alright, well I will add the Netherlands flag. So this little bar here above the shark name, this is I kind of like thinking about this stream as kind of like a cafe or a bar, like just where everybody can come in and wherever you hail from, we have your flag over the counter. So yeah, I am gonna add the Netherlands to the bar. That is super cool. So welcome. I'm really glad to have you. So Howard, I concur, which is always why I include Latin names with my drawings. Yes. So it's interesting. I was actually thinking about that recently too, where this tonight's particular shark is very tricky English name wise. So it's really great we do have a universal system of Latin names. And it's actually really cool that it literally is universal. Like, those Latin names, no matter what country you're from, like, it can even be, like, completely what do you call it? Non-Romance or non-Germanic languages, like China or Japan. Those Latin names will still be there. They're always referred to. So it's actually really cool that there is a unifying, name. I just think that's really amazing. And it's interesting that even in the common names, there is kind of like an international code of common names. And I was kind of thinking about this recently where it's the Food and Agriculture Organization in the United Nations that sets the code up, where they have the one that I think of is Squalus acanthius. In the FAO code, the English name should be piked dogfish, and that's the one that I keep using. In local communities, in I think Britain, it's a pike dogfish. In the United States, it's a spiny dogfish. And it's kind of interesting seeing kind of how, like, all these names, like, kind of interplay with each other, and it can be very confusing very quickly. There's a similar thing with sand tiger sharks. In the United States, it's sand tiger sharks. In Australia, it's a gray nurse shark. The FAO name is a sand tiger shark. The Latin name across the world is Carcharias taurus. So, I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. Like, J.R.R. Tolkien had an interesting approach to names where I really like how... I do really like that how characters in The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, but more so The Lord of the Rings, have, like, multiple names. Like Gandalf, it's like Gandalf the Grey, who's also known as Mithrandir, who's also known as the Grey Pilgrim. It's kind of interesting. Sharks are similar in that way, but anyway, we'll go. I think we'll go into kind of meandered a little bit. I think we'll go into marine protected areas. And I was really encouraged to see that, like, regardless of other databases, I used to have Red List, and this one actually, I guess is marine conservation, I guess is private. They refer to those bodies of water in Mexico, as it should be. And actually, even NOAA, this is the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration of the United States. One of their marine sanctuaries, the Flower Garden Banks, is also in the Gulf of Mexico. But I think it's a good opportunity to look at marine protected areas from around the world and see the different layers of protection. So we'll kind of segue to that, starting with, let's see what's actually in the Gulf. So you can see that these are color coded, and it shows like the different layers of protection, and there's like a cheat sheet on the left here. And what's kind of cool is that it's a system. There's actually a lot to break down on this map, but you can see that there's a system of protected areas around the world, and each government kind of does it a little bit differently. In the United States, we have a lot of weird layers. We have the National Marine Sanctuaries, which are the equivalent of national parks. But we also have National Marine Reserves. We also have a lot of state parks or state areas. So I'm kind of curious to see those. So I think what we'll do is we'll take a look at some, American areas. I want to look at some Canadian areas. We should look at some Netherlands areas as well. We'll just kind of hop around the world and see what happens. And we'll take a look at the color codes too. So firstly, I'm curious about this area down here. So in southern Gulf of Mexico, this is Bajos del Norte National Park. So this one is kind of like a green, implemented, lightly protected. Interesting. So lightly protected means some protection exists, but moderate to significant extraction impacts are allowed. Okay. This dark blue area, this is Bajos del Norte National Park, and this is implemented fully protected. So it looks like dark blue is the best one, and the ones that we're really looking for. No extractive or destructive activities are allowed. All adaptable impacts are minimized. Interesting. And then finally, I'm kind of curious what this brown area is. This is Arrecife Alacranes National Park. Not assessed. So this is something that is not really quite known. And it's actually really cool. Establishment phase. So if it's a solid boundary, it means it's actively managed or implemented. And then if it's a striped boundary, it's designated. So there's still some discussion. So pretty interesting. So let's see. Yes, Howard, 100% agree. Indigenous people have their own names for sharks. Yes. Sorry about that. Also, Howard says, "Hey Vivian, what fossil sharks are found in your area?" I don't know if that was a typo. I want to make sure I'm not missing a commenter, am I? I see Bibia666 and Howard. I don't see a Vivian, so please let me know if I'm missing somebody. And I apologize if I am. I don't know what happened, if so. But let's take a look at... We'll take a look at Florida. Got the Everglades National Park. This is a lightly protected area that's actively managed. We've got something dark blue here. The Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. Actually, no, that might not be it. Something else here. Oh, it is. Okay, the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary. It is fully protected, so that's actually really cool. So it looks like in the United States, those national marine sanctuaries are the big ones. Although then again, I know... Oh, yeah. Here we go. Flower Garden Banks. This is also... so that is a national marine sanctuary. There we go. So this is one of those fully protected areas. So I've heard this is beautiful. Our friend Jess Myers, I think she did a dive here. I know she talked about it, and it's apparently like amazing. So it's kind of really cool that this area, the Flower Garden Banks, is like probably the southern limit of subtropical ecosystems. So it's right on the edge of tropical water, and it's just like, it just sounds really cool. So we'll go north. I am kind of curious to see. Oh, here's something in North Carolina. What is this? Emily and Richardson Prairie Buckridge Coastal Reserve. I've never heard of that, actually. That's cool. That's actually in Alligator River National Wildlife, or that's in Alligator River. So that's actually the northernmost limit for alligators. That's actually really cool. There's a full protected area in North Carolina. Interesting. Alright, my home state of Virginia. Let's see what we got. Looks like we're doing terribly. which is a shame. We've got something. The Chesapeake Bay Estuarine Complex. And I'm kind of joking because it's my home state, but the reality is, like, I think Virginia, for the most part, does a really good job. I think we actually have a lot of good state park systems and interesting management in place, especially when it comes to Chesapeake Bay. There's still a hell of a lot of work to do because, you know, we have a really bad oyster population. Like, that's not recovered at all. We did recover striped bass. We did recover bald eagles. We did recover blue crabs, but they kind of get in and out. So there's still a lot more work to do, but there is a lot of effort in Virginia. There's a really beautiful state park system in Virginia, and also a lot of interesting reserves, like protected lands, that do help. One of the most interesting is this right here. Goodwin Islands. So this area is forbidden. You cannot go here because there's undetonated mines. So it's off limits to everybody, but it's also simultaneously served as a protected area. And it's actually a really good area for diamondback terrapins, which are the only estuarine turtle in the world. Or I believe it's either in the world or North America, but it's a really, really beautiful turtle. And actually, let me see if I can find that really quick. Diamondback terrapin. It's one of my favorites. I took care of these in an aquarium, but I have not like seen one in the wild, and I really want to. But see, these guys, these are really cool. They're uniquely adapted. They're not quite like a sea turtle because they do have claws, but they're not quite like a land turtle or even a snapping turtle because they spend a lot of time in the water. So they're very, very pretty. It's a really cool group of animals. Also, if anybody follows college sports, the Maryland team, the Terrapins, this is what they're named after, which is kind of unfortunate because I think their mascot looks like a snapping turtle, and the actual diamondback terrapin is just adorable. It's a very beautiful turtle that has a lot of unique colors to it too. So, but yeah. So Goodwin Islands is like a forbidden zone. This is really cool. The eastern shore of Virginia is just really not accessible to people. Like, if you have a boat, you can kind of travel in and out of these lagoons, but for the most part, I mean, there's nothing here. And it's really cool. It feels like wild Virginia, kind of like, I don't know if anybody has seen Shakespeare in Love, but like the last scene of that movie is one of the characters being shipwrecked in an unknown country, and it just feels like that. It's just like miles and miles of bare beaches. I've been lucky enough to actually be on one of the islands. I think I was on, yeah, it was Paramore Island. It was either Paramore Island or I think there was Smith Island or Fisherman, not Fisherman's Island because that's down here, but Paramore Island, where you see like houses that are collapsed, shipwrecks right on the water that no one's going to bother to move because this is just in the middle of nowhere. It's an amazing place. Nothing is there, and it's really encouraging that lack of human activity could be like right in the Mid-Atlantic area of the United States. This is actually really cool. So sorry, I spent a lot of time on that, but it's a really cool spot. So this is interesting. Here's okay, Hudson Canyon proposed National Marine Sanctuary. This is the largest underwater canyon on the east coast of the United States, and it's actually really cool that they are attempting to create a National Marine Sanctuary. I hope it happens. We will see, but really, really cool spot, very unique. Let's see. Florida Keys are beautiful. I hope it stays protected. Yes, I absolutely, definitely agree with Bibia. It's scary times for the environment. It is, and it's kind of a reason why I wanted to take a moment to highlight this. Are there herring and mullet in Virginia? Yes. Sorry, I'm kind of split focused, but yes, mullet are a big thing in Virginia. Actually, let me phrase that. Herring are the biggest thing. So we actually have quite a variety of herring here. We have alewife is a really big one. Major shark food. Actually, a major ecosystem link where they directly, eat phytoplankton or zooplankton, and then they are super packed with energy, and there's such a great shark food for the sharks that do come into the bay, or just other animals like dolphins. We have a big dolphin population in the bay, like bottlenose dolphins specifically. But we have alewife, Atlantic menhaden is the big one. The largest menhaden fishery in the world is actually in Virginia. I think the Reedville operation, like the omega-3 people, I forget what you call it. I think it's called omega-3. It's like one of the big names for herring. They're based in Reedville. And that's like right on the bay. There's also tribes in Virginia still. The Pamunkey and Mattaponi specifically. They do have tribal rights to herring in kind of like in the York River system. So they actually rely on the herring because they actually have a fisheries operation there. So, but yeah, we have alewife, menhaden, blueback herring, threadfin shad, gizzard shad. We have quite a few herring species in the bay. So, and then for mullet, we have the striped mullet. I think we have two other species offshore, but the striped mullet is the big one. So, great question. Sorry, I love fish questions. So, but yes, I know it's scary times right now, and I definitely agree. And it's part of the reason why I wanted to talk about this, especially, and I really don't want to get too political, but I feel like the intersect of with conservation is a little too much. So I feel like it's important to make a comment where it's like, I wanted to take a moment to highlight our marine protected areas because these took a long time to establish, and they will take a long time to like dismantle, especially since there's layers. It's not all federal. It's like some of these are state oriented, some of these are like trusts, some of these are just like private. I mean, there's just so many layers to them. So I'm wishing for the best as far as these go. It really is a win-win for everybody to keep these areas protected because they are kind of like, you can look at them like an investment on the ecosystem. And then finally, theoretically, if the United States didn't have these, I mean, there's still a lot of others around the world, but the reality is the United States is a leader in conservation. Like, believe it or not, regardless of like whatever the rhetoric is and just the populace. I mean, Teddy Roosevelt established, I think it is the world's first national park, or the first sentiment of like protecting natural lands. And from there, that's blossomed into a lot of really like amazing endeavors. I mean, national marine sanctuaries, we used to have like I think 13, and then that's actually grown. This one is huge. This was, I forget if this was George W. Bush or Obama who did this one. And it's kind of funny. I remember one of my conservation biology teachers was showing me, guess which president made this happen? And we were all thinking it was like a left-leaning president, and it was actually George Bush, which is kind of funny, but it shows that, like, sometimes things turn out in unexpected ways, and I forget, let me figure out who founded this one, because I know Bush too did one of these, and Obama I think did another one. This is Papa, hold on, Papa no Ikea. Here we go. Let me see who did this. Signed into law. Who did this? Barack Obama. Okay, so Obama did this one. I know Bush did one of these out here, and I can't remember what it is. But anyway, but point being is, like, I know the news is really freaky, or not the news, but events have been really freaky lately, and just want to highlight that there's a lot out there, and there's a lot of these protected areas in the ocean, and there's a lot, like, science is just kind of like a higher thing. It just transcends national boundaries, and just, like, I feel like our community is a good example of that. Like, we're all united to, help the ocean, help sharks, be in tune with sharks, and, it doesn't matter, like where we hail from. Like, we're all, this is more important, you know what I mean? So just, I don't know. And I'm trying to be delicate, I'm trying to be careful, but yeah. Yes, Howard, I think habitat encroachment is a huge problem for sharks internationally. Definitely agree. So, sea dogs, seals in Netherlands love herring, and mullet they can't catch. Thanks for the stream and answers, and setting up trusts to buy land, sea in order to protect most secure, especially now. Agreed. Thank you. Appreciate that comment a lot. And Howard, I definitely agree. I think habitat encroachment is a huge problem for sharks internationally. Definitely agree with that. Speaking of international, let's look at Canada. Let's look at Canadian marine protected areas. I spent a lot of time on American ones. I'd like to see some full protection areas in Canada. There's a couple right here. So this one, the Gully, Zone de Protection Marine. This is fully protected. This is really cool. The Gully Marine Protected Area. And this is really exciting because this area, the Grand Banks, and I'm trying to remember, this might be, I think this is the Grand Banks. I wish this map would show me. Okay, one of these is the Grand... Okay, now that's going to bother me. Hold on. I'm going to go back to this. Grand Banks. This is Grand Banks, right? Grand Banks of Newfoundland. This is a super famous location. You better... Okay, I guess I'll have to Google it. Okay, it's exciting to see protected areas in this part of the ocean, because this is near... unfortunately, Grand Banks are not... It looks like they don't have protection yet. But this is one of the most productive parts of the ocean in the world, which is super cool. Grand Banks of Newfoundland. Alright, here we go. Okay, so it is this feature. So it is this... So that's the Flemish Cap, which is made famous in the movie The Perfect Storm. Grand Banks is this big feature right here. Okay, just want to make sure. So this area right here, it's a shame it's not protected yet, but I know Newfoundland is very sparsely populated, and correct me if I'm wrong, Howard, but I believe Newfoundland is very low population. But this area right here is one of the richest areas in the world for sharks. It's actually been described by some shark biologists as, like, as far as like biomass, like pound for pound, the most sharky place in the world, like the most amount of sharks in the world. Most of it is the dogfish, like the Squalus acanthius. It's mostly that. But you also have some big players like, great white sharks, basking sharks. They do occur in this area. So super cool. But it's mostly dogfish. Extremely high productivity zone. Very rich fishing grounds. But it's really nice to see that there's adjacent areas in the Gulf of St. Lawrence that do have protection. So let's see. We've got the Gully Marine Protected Area, and that's actually really cool to see that that's right on the continental shelf. We've got this big one, St. Anne's Bank. So this is highly protected. That's extremely cool. The Laurentian Channel, very interesting. I don't know if you guys have seen The Hunt for Red October, but I remember this area was made famous in that movie. Like, they were going for the Laurentian Trough, so so cool. St. Anne's Bank. That's actually a very large area off of Nova Scotia. So interesting. Gulf of St. Lawrence has got a lot going on too, especially here. Look at this. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing this incorrectly. The Saguenay St. Lawrence Marine Park. That's actually really cool because this, I believe, should be an estuarine zone because you have the St. Lawrence River flowing with all that fresh water from like the Great Lakes and everything, and then it starts to meet the sea here. So this will be a very sensitive marine area and a really great place to protect. So that's really cool. And actually, look at this whole coastline. There's a lot going on here. Hongwedo East Territorial Reserve for protected area purposes. Sector of Matinee-les Missions, Territorial Reserve protected area purposes. It's a lot here. Go Canada. That's actually really cool. Oh, and actually I'm just noticing these too. Look at this. A couple places here. Eastport Duck Island. This is actively managed, highly protected area. Terra Nova National Park. So that brings me so much comfort. It's really great to see that there's a lot of like areas that do get this protection. So stop finning now. Yes, I'm going to star that absolutely. The East Coast population has dwindled since the fisheries basically collapsed. Encroachment isn't on the radar like finning is. Most documentaries focus on shark fin soup, but loss of habitat and loss of food for sharks, which loses habitat too. Yes. So a big area, kind of speaking about habitat loss, a lot of it is coastal development. Unfortunately, Florida is really a shame because like there are research institutes in Florida that do a lot of great work. And you can see there's a lot of protected areas, like the Florida coastline. There's a lot of people who like really care. And then unfortunately, there's also a lot of like development in Florida. I mean, I have no idea how Miami works, for example, because like, it's just so much human population pressure in like a sandy, like sea level flat, like just really like, how does it handle it? I don't even know. I say this and I kind of pick on Florida because I used to live in Florida right here. I used to live in Bradenton. And the community that I lived in, they took environmental protection really seriously. Like they had paper straws. They were like, you cannot litter on the beach at all, period. They had an active an active lionfish hunting program, and they were trying to make that into a fishery. And it's really difficult to do because lionfish are an invasive species. A large part of it is ecotourism, where Florida attracts a lot of people because of the beaches, the tropical habitat, and they do want to protect that, but politically it's so contentious right now, where it's like you have a swath of people who really do a lot of great marine science work, and ecologically it's a very unique place as far as the United States goes. So there's a lot of great opportunity. It's the only part of the United States on the mainland that dips into tropical habitat. So a lot of our shark research institutes and a lot of our top marine science institutes are in Florida. And then, especially lately, you've got this weird contention of people like moving there and like, just kind of developing and not really liking that. So I'm kind of picking on Florida because it's kind of like a weird battleground of like these two perspectives, Another area that does get a lot of development is places in South America, and this is really unfortunate because like There's a lot of like shrimp farming in this area, and the shrimp farming directly negatively impacts small hammerhead species like the small-eye hammerhead or the scallop bonnethead. Really critically endangered hammerhead sharks. A big part of what's hurting them, to what you were saying earlier, Howard, was just habitat loss. And just tearing up mangroves to make shrimp farms. So one way that we can help directly is, be mindful of where we get our seafood from. Maybe not import seafood, but rather try to source it locally in fisheries that we know are managed sustainably. So, and some fisheries can be, like striped bass in the Chesapeake Bay was a sustainable fishery. And it still is. Like for the most part, like striped bass is a well managed fishery. Some fisheries are not. Cod in the Mid-Atlantic, we used to have cod in North Carolina, and that completely collapsed. To Howard's point, Mid-Atlantic sharks, there used to be an active fishery in the United States in the 70s and 80s, and that's really completely collapsed. And now we have, like, depending on the species, like 70 to 90% declines for those stocks. So it's encouraging to see places that have full protection. Galapagos, of course, the extremely famous marine reserve. This is really cool. The Cocos Island, very, very top-notch hotspot for sharks. Hammerhead sharks, blacktip sharks. That's really cool. Let's see what this is. Pitcairn Islands. That's also a very famous location. I know I breezed over this, but this area, Papahānaumokuākea Natural Marine Monument, enormous area. Like it's really encouraging to see. Like, you know what, this is here. This is an unbelievable body of water that does have full protection and full management. So it's super cool. Finally, let's go to Netherlands. Just want to shout out and see what protections are going on here. There we go. Alright, so we do have some zones, and it looks like there's a mixed assessment on what's going on here. So, Voor Delta, Marine Protected Area. And I apologize if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Oosterschelde. Markiermer. And correct me if I'm wrong, these almost look like, I wonder if these are like estuarine areas, which would be really cool if they are, like if there's salt marshes or I know there's a couple famous locations here that are pretty important as far as like the North Sea ecosystem. So and actually let me pull up the, what is it called? It's the Marine Ecoregions of the World. I want to see what this is. There's a way to look at this on a map. Here we go, data basin. So it's really cool to see in the Netherlands there are some marine protected areas. The brown indicates, as far as like the assessment, it's not assessed yet, so we don't know the level of protection, if it's fully protected or not protected. This is a really cool, I don't know if you've seen this before. I know Howard has, but for Bibia, I don't know if you've seen this before, but this is a really cool atlas of if you split the ocean up into marine protected areas. I know this page gets finicky. Come on. There we go. It takes a minute, but it's actually really cool. Like it splits the ocean up into more manageable pieces where you can define by habitat, like temperature, marine features. Each part of the ocean is unique and has like a distinct characteristic. And here we go. So in the Netherlands, this is Here's the information thing. Here we go. The North Sea. Okay, so this is the North Sea ecoregion. So it's not just like the geographical body of the North Sea, but this habitat is ecologically extremely similar to the eastern side of Britain, a little bit of southern Norway, Denmark and Germany, as well as Belgium, and a bit of France. So there's something that's kind of uniting this area ecologically. So I'm going to put this map in the chat. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, cool. Okay. Many estuaries, many dikes and dams. Interesting. I know you mentioned herring earlier. I'm very curious about how the dams probably impact herring populations. Oh, Howard. Let me just see. I'm proud of our government for seeing the need for environmental protection and putting that ahead of what was thriving fishing industry. Yes, I'm definitely going to start that. Honestly, go Canada as far as just like, you know, I really appreciate the conservation focus that Canada has as well. And Canada has some really cool shark research. I know I've talked about it a couple times, but I really love that there is like, you know, an established body of, especially for Atlantic sharks. I feel like there's a lot of really cool work on Atlantic shark species, North Atlantic or Atlantic province shark species in Canada. So it's super cool. But I definitely echo that sentiment of pride. That's actually really cool. And I appreciate, you know, Canada that need, like you said. That's really, really cool. So, and then Bibia, I'm curious about if for the dams and the dikes in the Netherlands, if that, like, if there are fish ladders. So, because I know in the United States, that's been a really big concern because we actually have a lot of dams too, and especially like in my state of Virginia, there's a couple areas that, or actually rather in the Chesapeake Bay, there's a couple areas that have been dammed and have prevented the herring from getting upstream, and it screws up how they do their, like, you know, their spring migration and their mating, and laying eggs and just how all that works. I would say the most famous example, and this would apply to Canada too, I think, is in the west coast of Canada and the United States with salmon, like how damming affects salmon movement. You know, where, you know, salmon famously swim upstream to spawn. So, I've sluited up many herring, but there are plans to open the dikes as much as possible. That is so cool. Howard, I appreciate that comment. We were jealous of the U.S. for its warmer waters and Miocene fossil deposits. Yeah, so, yeah, like, I hope, I think, I'm trying to be delicate as far as, like, this administration, because I think we're all on the same page. That's just like, wow, what is going on as far as like some of their policies. But I want to reemphasize that there's a lot of layers to dismantle, and I think some of our places, like some of our parks and some of our, or maybe not some, most of our parks and marine protected areas are going to endure, and they're going to be fine. And also, the fossils will still be there, so when things get better, please come on over. We love to share our fossils and share our, natural lands, of course, with any guests, so please come on over. And also, actually, you know what? I'm going to kind of give the bearings for some top-notch fossil sites. So, let's see, Anjamoy, Maryland. That's a big one. You know what? And I'll give this one too. This is where I find my teeth. Okay, so these are two excellent fossil deposits from Miocene. Nanjamoy might be a little bit older. Nanjamoy might be Oligocene. But what's kind of funny, and keep the secret, please, because it's like these are kind of like the locations that I go to, because like tourism books will say go to Calvert Cliffs in Maryland, which is a very famous fossil site. Go to Westmoreland State Park in Virginia. Yes, the Scientist Cliffs. Yes, exactly. And actually, Scientist Cliffs is still good. Scientist Cliffs is mostly private land, but there is a place. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I think it's Matoka. Scientist Cliffs. Matoka Beach Cabins. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is like golden knowledge. Please write this down and don't share with anybody. So, let's see. So in the Chesapeake Bay, the two very famous fossil locations are the Calvert Cliffs, or Scientist Cliffs, and then Westmoreland in Virginia. Now, Westmoreland, because it's so famous, has, I would say, it's not been picked clean, but it's very hard to get fossils, I think, in Westmoreland because so many people go there. I kind of get the impression about Calvert Cliffs for the same thing. Where Calvert Cliffs, I feel like the state park, the public lands that people could go to, I feel like they've been so popular that people have kind of like picked a lot of the fossils. But the Matoka Beach Cabins, I've never been to them, but I've heard of these. You can rent these, and these will give you access to a part of the Scientist Cliffs that most people aren't aware is available to the public. So you get a better chance of getting megalodon teeth. So that's a really cool location. And yes, go right after a storm. Always look for associated dentitions. Absolutely. Nanjamoy is brimming with teeth. Like you can it used to be, it's kind of off the map, but it used to be, you'll be able to find it if you kind of like go on blogs and stuff. It used to be a park that just kind of went out of service. But those beaches, like no one knows it's a thing. So those beaches are just full of sand tiger teeth and a little bit of Otodus, so the ancestor of Megalodon. You can get a couple of Otodus teeth there. So, and finally, Chipoks. I get some of my best teeth. I've gotten ancient white shark teeth from Chipoks State Park in Virginia. So that one's on, oops, sorry about that, the James River. And it's nice and quiet, really beautiful park. But yeah. Miocene fossils are here. They will stay. So after all the nonsense is over, please come on down, and we would love to have you. I'm sorry, Bibia. Let me go back to your comment. I just got on a fossil tangent, but money is not forthcoming. It's a pity because herring is great to catch mole. Sorry, herring multiples fast. So good for consumers and conservation if done right. Yes. So, and it's tricky because kind of related to that, in Virginia, there's been a lot of concern about menhaden, which is a kind of herring, and how that's being fished, because that fish is turned into fish meal, and it's turned into like dog food and I think even fish food and fertilizer. And there's been concern about that commercial harvest because it's the Chesapeake Bay, and it's like you're utilizing this one location to supply the herring around the country, and you got to be very careful about that. So there's been a lot of back and forth with that fishing industry in particular. So it's a really, I really appreciate these comments on herring, because it's a really I don't think a lot of people realize how enormously important herring are, because they directly consume the plankton, and so they are just packed with energy, and they're the best food for like orca whales, seals, dolphins, sharks, larger fish. Like this is their go-to. So they're very vital for the marine ecosystem. So I really appreciate the comments on herring. Howard, collect some of the sediments from microfossils. Interesting. You know what? I gotta do that. That's a great point. I gotta do that. I don't think I've ever done that. Let me look this up. That is really cool. Hold on. A microfossil. This is so interesting. Tiny remains of bacteria, protists, fungi, animals, and plants. University of California Museum of Paleontology. Sorry, my world just exploded because it's like, this is so obvious, and I just never thought about it before. It makes sense. I mean, it's just like, just as you have, living large animals and living tiny animals, so too you could have tiny fossils, and I just never thought about that before. That is so cool. Whoa. I wonder if we can get some photographs. Now that is a level of detail I don't think I could. Oh, this is cool. University of Hawaii at Manoa. That's a pretty famous institute, by the way. Wow. Oh, wow. That's just... Oh, wow. These are jaws? Hold on. Polychaete marine worm jaws. Oh, that's freaky. Because, like, so we have... I would say probably most, if not all, at least in the United... Well, actually, let me phrase that. All temperate and tropical oceans, I feel like, have polychaete worms. I could be wrong, but these are worms that... like, clamworm is kind of like the most famous one. Here we go. Trying to find a good example. This is really creepy, but this is what I think of. So these are worms that are in every single beach. They keep to themselves. If you ever dig, depending on where you are, if you ever dig in the sand, you might accidentally catch one of these. And they do bite, and they bite with these pincer-like things, these jaws. So I know these are really creepy images, but fun fact: the ocean has worms. This one is a pretty big one. I think bobbit worms are polychaete worms, and they are terrifying. But it's wild to see these are the jaws, and these are microfossils of polychaete worm jaws. That's really cool and really freaky, actually. So, thank you, Howard. That is awesome. I had no idea that was a thing. So, yeah. Dermal denticles, tiny shark teeth, and spines. That is so cool. I just realized, sorry, I got so caught up that I just realized it was almost 11, so we should pick a shark for next week. Please let me know if you have any preferences. Bibia666, since you are new to the channel, like if there's anything in particular you want to see, please leave a comment. We've covered 105 species, so there's a chance. Oh, cool! Data basin, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you're able to add that, because it's a really cool resource. And Data basin actually does marine ecosystems, freshwater ecosystems, and terrestrial ecosystems. So it does all three. So it used to be under the auspices of the Nature Conservancy, and I think that's shifted. So, but yeah, please let me know in the comments if there's a shark you'd like to cover for next week. And I think we'll wrap up with this paper, just kind of summarizing, getting all the way back to our shark, where this family came from. So we'll wrap up with this tonight, and then we'll name a shark for next week. If no one has a suggestion, then I'll pull one from... I've got my copy of Sharks of the World, so we'll pull a new one. So, but here we go. Dichichthyidae, a new family of deepwater sharks, carchareniforms from the Indo-West Pacific, with description of a new species. The genus Dichichthys was resurrected for 5 species previously allocated to the genus Parmaturus in the family Pentanthidae. Supraorbital crests on the chondrocranium distinguish Dichichthys from Parmaturus and other members of the family Pentanthidae. A new family, Dichichthyidae, has been proposed to contain Dichichthys. A sequence of the NADH2 mitochondria gene confirms the placement of Dichichthys outside of the Pentanthidae family, as well as separate from the Atelomictoridae and Scleranidae families. So Scleranidae is like the big cat shark family that I'm used to, because we have the chain cat shark here. And actually a lot of the famous ones, like chain cat shark, the blackmouth cat shark, I think, is Scleritis. So the coral cat shark, I could be wrong. Coral cat shark might be. I might be wrong on that actually. But anyway, Dichichthys albimarginatus was described using a holotype collected off the west coast of New Caledonia. A second juvenile specimen collected off the coast of Papua New Guinea was tentatively assigned as Dichichthys CF albimarginatus. Dichichthys bigus is known from the holotype collected from the Coral Sea off the coast of Queensland, Australia. A new parasite-afflicted underwater observation was reported further north of Queensland. The type species Dichichthys melanobranchus, previously only known from juvenile specimens, was redescribed based on adult specimens. Dichichthys nigripilatum is known from the holotype collected off Sumbawa, Indonesia, and a tentatively identified photo record from West Java. Dichichthys satoi, new species, is described from the West Norfolk Ridge and off the North Island of New Zealand. Members of the genus Dichichthys have unique curved egg cases which have pliable ridges made up of numerous fibers and long coiled tendrils on the posterior end. Alright, so this is what we were talking about in the very beginning. I think this blog, no, that's not, this blog had it. So this shark has these unique egg cases with the ridges right here. So that's something that kind of distinguishes them from other cat sharks. And it is a weird shape. I've actually never seen this before for cat shark egg cases. So and then here is, so this is actually our species. I just realized that this is it. So I just want to zoom in. This is Dichichthys bigus because I just realized that the caption is this beige bristle shark. So beige, big, this is it. Dichichthys bigus. So kind of cool. Actually, taking a closer look at at this photograph, beautiful little concentration of what look like pores here. It could be electroreceptors, could be ampullae lawrencei at the tip of the snout. Very large eyes here, characteristic of a deep water shark. Very tiny pectoral fins, so pretty large head proportionate to the rest of the body. This is interesting. These might be the parasites that the research paper is referring to. These kind of weird aberrations in the skin. So it's actually pretty interesting to see. And there's quite a few. And otherwise, this individual looks pretty healthy. Really good color on it, even in this deep water environment. So it's actually pretty cool to see. This is our Dichichthys bigus. So. Howard, let's pick one from the Netherlands. Let's see. Famous. Let's see. That's a good suggestion. Sharks of the Netherlands. Let's see. Okay. Sharks in the Netherlands. We've done angel, basking, blue, dogfish, thresher, poor beagle. We have done these. Oh, here we go. Oh, here we go. Okay. Maybe the common smooth hound. Maybe the nurse hound. Starry smooth hound. Starry smooth hound. Let's see what this one is. It's a really good suggestion. And let me make sure. Because like there's so many sharks that we've covered that I just want to make sure we don't duplicate. Okay, Muscellus asterius. We might not have done that one before. I think that might be it. The Starry Smooth Hound might be a cool one. It's a really good suggestion. I'm gonna just check my channel. I've got a weird ad for cheese, so we're gonna switch to this cool chart on chart classification. I'm just gonna check the channel because I'm glad I made these playlists to kind of keep track of which ones we've covered based on their order. So I gotta check Carchariniforms. Okay, bull shark, dusky smooth hound. We did the taupe. I think this might be it. I think we might do it. Cat shark, little hound shark. You know what? I think that's it. Okay. So that's a great suggestion, Howard. I think we can make, as far as doing a shark from the Netherlands, I think Starry Smoothhound might be a really good pick. So let's do that. So Muscellus asterias, Starry Smoothhound. Make sure I got that 100% right. Just checking Sharks of the World really quick. Muscellus californius, asterias. Alright, that's it. Alright, so Muscellus asterias, the Starry Smoothhound, will be next week's shark. So great pick. Thank you so much for suggesting that. And I'm excited to cover it. Smoothhounds are one of my favorites because we have the Dusky Smoothhound, which will be coming back this spring into my part. The Dusky Smoothhound will be coming back to the bay this spring. Right now, I've got, I'm kind of making these like little, and I could probably show you guys. I don't know if you can see it. I've got my map of the North Atlantic here, and I'm making kind of like a shark chart. So I'm putting up species photos. It's kind of hard to see, and I don't want to like completely screw up my rig. But I've got like these really cool like shark printouts, and I'm putting them up and down based on season. So right now we just have dogfish in the bay, because it's just the water is the coldest it can get right now. Average temperature is 42 degrees Fahrenheit, which in Celsius that's what is that? I don't know why we have Fahrenheit. It's ridiculous. Fahrenheit to Celsius. So right now it's about 6 degrees Celsius. So pretty cold. So we only have dogfish right now. But in March, the water's going to start to warm, and we'll get some smoothhounds back. So anyway, long story short, smoothhounds are a fun shark that's kind of near and dear to my heart because we have them in the bay throughout most of the year. So I'm excited to see a cousin in the Netherlands, the Starry Smoothhound, and it has a really cool like light spotting pattern on the back. So I'm very excited to meet that species. So great suggestion. So we'll wrap up that research article. Here we go. So we read the abstract, and I think we'll call it a night after that. I just want to see if there's any diagrams of the species or photographs. Here we go. Crest of enlarged dermal denticles on dorsal ACE and ventral BDF midlines of caudal, peduncle, and interior portions of vertebral caudal fin lobes. So figure A and B is R shark, and I guess this is how they get their name, is here, this kind of ridge right here. So where it does kind of look a little fuzzy, so this is where they kind of get that name of bristle catsharks, is this part of the dermal denticles, like this part of the tail where the dermal denticles are enlarged. So I guess that's their namesake, which is really cool. It's kind of cool to see that pretty clearly. You can see that here for different species, just kind of like a raised ridge on the midline, and then finally here as well. So these are, you can see where the name comes from. It's pretty interesting. Really cool 3D model of I'm assuming it's a chondrocranium. So you do have a little bit of like the jaws, so how the cartilage relates. Nice view of the dermal denticles right here. This is definitely the chondrocranium. So this is kind of like here, this is like the eye sockets. This is kind of the brain case, kind of right here. So it's interesting seeing a shark's chondrocranium because we talked about it before, but sharks are skeleton-wise are so interesting versus like other animals because the jaws are detached. They're just a different thing. So it's just like the cranium is like eyes, brain, nostrils, whereas like other animals like humans, our jaws are fused to our skulls. So the skeletal structure is just really different. It's kind of cool to see. Okay. Here's the range of these sharks, and actually what's really cool, the white marks, so the white circle and the white star are our species, Dichichthys bigus. It's just two locations, just these two off of Australia. The other ones have been found, other species which are different colors. One has had multiple locations, so Dichichthys satoi in New Zealand. This one, Dichichthys melanobranchus, is in the Philippines and off China. So it's pretty cool. Oh wow. Here is kind of like, I think, a genetic layout of how the species or the samples in the species relate to each other. Nothing on Dichichthys bigus, so we'll just kind of keep moving. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I just kind of skipped through that. This is Alba marginatus, so different species. And I know it's almost 11 Eastern time, so we'll wrap up in a little bit. Here's Dichichthys bigus, so we'll wrap up with these photographs. So this was our species for tonight, the beige catshark, or the beige bristle catshark. So fortunately this is a very damaged specimen, but you can still see even then the pores, kind of like concentrated in the snout. Very damaged. You can still see the teeth, but everything is just so emaciated due to the preservation, so it's not a great example of what the shark looks like. But you can still see the extremely large eyes relative to the head size and body size. So. And then here are the A cases, so the distinctly ribbed A cases, or ridged A cases. Which, I'm not gonna lie, they do look kind of creepy in a weird way. But I think these exaggerated tendrils are an adaptation. My guess is these might be an adaptation to look like algae for camouflage, so to ensure the best chance of survival for pups. Oh, and this is great. Here we go. These are underwater images of this species alive. So this is actually really great to see. Dichichthys bigus, the beige catshark, alive in the wild. So this is really cool stuff. Beautiful footage here. So these are definitely stills from a video. I wish that video was on YouTube because it would be really cool to see the shark in action. And this is a great shot of it swimming right here on the left, because you can see just how large the eyes are, how small the snout is, and actually, just kind of how pushed back all the fins are relative to the body size. And this actually looks like a mature male, because the claspers are beyond the pelvic fin endpoint. So it's a small shark, but this might be a mature male of a small species. You can also see a nice white trailing edge of the caudal fin too, so it's a cool little detail in the color. So yeah, but overall, really cool shark. Very rare species. Oh, and you can actually see the two laser points here. These white lines are indicating the size. So there's a fixed distance here. This is probably a couple centimeters. So this is a way to help measure the shark. But anyway, so thank you, Vivi. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So. Dog shark, mostly small ones. Wild sea sharks can't be large. Depth is 10 meters or less. Oh, I see. North Sea might have larger sharks because it's much deeper. Gotcha. Interesting. So, the eyes of bigus have a large shadow beneath them. Oh, cool. I did not notice that. So, oh, you're right. They do kind of look a little bit more sunken in. That's actually really cool. So, well, and thank you, Vivia666. I really appreciate that comment. Thank you, and thank you so much for joining. It's great to have a new viewer and also a new country. So I will make sure to put the Netherlands flag on the channel and make sure to have it here. So represent. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate doing the stream tonight, and again, appreciate your patience. I was just not feeling well last week, so it's really nice to be back. But tune in next week for the starry smoothhound. We're going to go to the North Sea to meet muscless asterias. So I really look forward to diving into some more sharks. It's a new year with, we're past 100 sharks now, and there's still 400 left to go. We'll see if we could do it. But hope you guys all have a great rest of your week. And, stay warm. I know it's going to be really cold for the rest of this week and, probably for the rest of the February. So the groundhog said so. I think Groundhog Day it was like 6 more weeks of winter. I don't know how they do it. It's complete nonsense. But anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I really appreciate you all being here tonight, and tune in next week for the Starry Smooth Hound. But great to see everybody. Cheers. Have a good night.